no matter how new of a rider or how long you've been riding, you will always hear that there are two types of riders. Ones that have gone down and ones that are going to go down. I think after a while, once you put enough mileage on, you fit into one of those two categories. And going down on a bike is something you always have to consider because there are too many factors out of your control. When you're on a bike out on a public road, you are the smallest target out there. You will win 0 battles against anything, even those stupid little smart cars. So anytime you get into a predicament, a situation, or anything that you didn't think could happen, but it did, you are always at the disadvantage. And that is one of the reasons why I've always harped on wearing gear, because accidents are never planned. That's why they're called accidents. You didn't plan on that to happen. It happened out of nowhere, which is exactly what happened to me last week. Not as far as an accident, but pretty close to one. And things that have happened to me over the past 20,000 miles of riding. The only thing you can do is to try and protect yourself as much as possible. I said in another video that the only piece of equipment that you wear that will save your life is your helmet. And I still believe that. Everything else, the boots, the gloves, and the jacket are there to mitigate road rash and damage and anything else that you get when you go down. It's all just preventative measures, because I really don't feel like getting skin grafts on my upper torso because my flesh was dragged down the pavement because I came off my bike in an accident. That's why I always wear my jacket. Other people feel as though they don't need to, and that's fine if you don't want to. That's your personal choice, and it's your body, your health, and your skin, and not mine. So I'm not going to worry about what other people do. I'm more concerned about myself. But the people that fit in the category, the ones that have gone down, or the ones that are going to go down, I think a lot of things can really shake people as far as wanting to be on a bike. There are people that on the forums that I've seen that have gone down on motorcycles and they jump right back up and they're on another bike and it's like nothing happened. It doesn't faze them at all. Other people, it affects them quite differently, regardless of how they ride or how much they ride or if they ride at all anymore. I've had my fair share of close calls over the years. I had a few on my first CBR. Some of it was due to inexperience, and a lot of it was due to drivers not paying attention, or a combination of both at the same time. The things that have happened more recently, I tend to pin more on other people. I think that every time I get on this bike or any bike and accumulate more mileage, I become a better rider, a more skilled rider, and a more knowledgeable rider. So it's not saying that if anything happens, it's definitely not my fault, because I definitely could have had a lot of other things turn out differently than the way they did. It all came down to a lot of it being luck, and it just not being my day, as far as not being unlucky, but as far as it just wasn't my time. I had an incident last week, about a week ago now actually, and it was probably my closest call that I've had yet. And it seems as though every summer that I ride, there's always one or two things that happen. It's completely unavoidable. It's something you have to accept and deal with it or not ride. And I decided to accept it, and I was leaving the movie theater. I just watched Captain America, and I was driving down a double lane road. So let's pretend that this road is double lane. Let's pretend that this breakdown lane over here is the right hand side you can ride on, and this here is the left hand side of the double lane that you can ride on. And let's pretend the same thing on the other side of the road. It was a very heavily traveled road to begin with, so there's a lot of cars. The road is very wide, being that it's 4 lanes. And I just left the movie theater. I gone about, I don't know, a few hundred feet. I was maybe going 40 miles per hour, and there was a car pulling out of a dealership from my left hand side. And I think when he was pulling out of the dealership, he was facing this way, looking at traffic, and probably looked towards the right in my direction first, and then looked left, and then pulled out. And right after he looked in my direction the first time is probably when I pulled out of the movie theater and started going down the road, because he came across the road right when I was getting there. He was trying to not pull into my lane, but he was going all the way across into another establishment across the road. And he went through not his lane, not his second lane, not my left-hand lane, but he started to go into my right-hand lane that I was riding in. And he came probably about, if I could guess, between 2.5 to 3 feet away from hitting me. And when I saw the car coming across, it was the only time that I had been riding where the thought of I am going to hit something and have an accident went through my head. Even though through all of my other close calls that I've had and other incidents that have happened, whether it involved another car or a solo incident on my own, I have never once had the preconceived thought that I was already going to have an accident. And I locked up the front brake and I locked up the rear brake. The bike started doing one of these because, first of all, my back brake was locked up and all my weight was transferred to my front, so I didn't have any traction on my back end, so it started sliding all over the place. And the only thing I was thinking was, when I do hit this car, because I'm going to, how do I want to fall off the bike? Because I didn't want to go into the car, I wanted to go over the hood or off to the side and not hit something else. That's how close it really was. And luckily the car stopped as he was just crossing into my lane, and I had 2 or 3 feet over into the right hand side to go by him as the brakes were locked up, and I was still skidding by him because I couldn't scrub off enough speed because of the distance that we were apart, and it just happened all so quick. So I made it past the car and I turned around him, give him one of these. I don't give him the finger as much as I wanted to. And I rode a little bit further down the road, and it all kind of goes through my head. And I had one of these moments of, should I pull over and collect my thoughts, because I was probably shaking even though I didn't know it. But I continued to ride home anyway. And I get home and I think about everything that happened. And you really start to consider, is this what you really want? Do I want to be on a bike? Do I want to keep riding? Is the risk versus the reward worth it in the end? And for me, it is. I mean, I would be a much more different person if I couldn't ride at all or ever. So I think taking that away makes me worse of a person than if I had been in an accident and was severely hurt. There's always a worst case scenario of never making it, but you can't go through your entire life trying to mitigate every single possibility of that happening. If it's your time, then it's your time, but I don't think that walking on eggshells everywhere you go is going to make your life any better. You still have to enjoy the things that you enjoy and do the things that you like doing, because then life isn't worth living if you don't. And as close of a call as that was, it didn't make me reconsider riding. It made me reconsider wearing my gear, because I don't think I would have been injured to the point of dying in that situation. I think if I had hit the car, I probably would have gone over his hood, and I think the speed that I was going, if I had hit it, I probably would have been okay. May have had some broken bones, but the gear is what would have helped overall. And I did a gear video last summer. Harp on gear, wear your gear, always wear your gear. And a lot of people don't, but I know that I always will. I don't care how damn hot it gets outside. I will decide to sit home and not ride for the day before I decide not to put on my helmet, my jacket, and my gloves and my boots. It's just mandatory. I won't go without it. And after that incident, and even the ones before that, it just makes me that much more steadfast on everything that I wear and why I wear it. And I just hope that other people out there that are new to riding or considered riding, or whether you have 85,000 miles of riding, it's just something that you should hopefully reconsider on your own. You can never make anyone do anything or force them to. It's all personal choice, but my personal choice is to wear it all, and I've had enough close calls and enough incidents that have happened where it just reaffirms all of that for me.